developed some really good amateurs, but also had brought in some professionals.
During that beginning, I met a gentleman named Dave Thatch. He became my first professional fighter. I felt the need to have a dual facility, PME, Professional Management Enterprises for the pros, the KBA for the amateurs. The amateurs were able then to raise their talents to be able to box with the professional fighters that were achieving world rating, television fights, world titles.
So it was the pros and the amateurs mixing that just made the whole thing a really, really cool thing.
I began to begin to get engrafted into the training with professionals. I began to be sparring partners with Richard Fly Roselle. He was a lightweight champion, world champion. I began to knock out people in 17 seconds. I would pick up things from Mayweather's, from Colson. Phenomenal fighters. It's a room full of testosterone, and I loved it.
They were coming from Detroit, Columbus, Ohio, and various places. So I opened a house called the KBA House.
There was a nice two-story older home, beautiful for the pro fighters lived there. I remember Lynn Hutchins and Top Cat Jackson, when he come to town, would stay there.
Stayed at the KBA House, 6 or 7 rooms with 2 beds in each room, so you could have 12 fighters there. It was just a beautiful, wonderful setup. You know, I mean, I loved it. KBA was no doubt that was my home, my second home. I was treated good there. Mitch and Dale will cook for us sometime, or sometime we cook ourselves. Well, a house of love. That's what it was.
I used to have to go down there and stay with them, eat with them, and if you want to, become a good fighter, you need to learn how to live with a bunch of men that can show you how to run, how to train, how to eat. You see the gym shoes, you see the boxing gloves, stuff they was working out in, they throw it over the chair. It was just like he was in the midst of greatness. I still ride by there and look at that house, man. Wow, those were some, just wonderful days.
From television, international, national television network, Howard Cosell came to see the KBA house. The newspaper writers in Detroit and Chicago came. And out of that success and the KBA history, Muhammad Ali heard about it, and Herbert Muhammad. They come to see the KBA.
He was able to bring in some, like Muhammad Ali. Most people would have trouble trying to get an interview with him. He was living in Berrien Springs at the time.
I got a call from Jack Morse saying, Henry, someone told me Muhammad Ali is on the mall heading toward your building. He said, some people tell me that he called your name, said he'd come looking for the KBA and Mr. Groves.
Gosh, Leon Spink shows up. Leon Spink shows up, and he's training with us. He gets out of training, goes down to Messiah's bar, and people love him down there, and he loved them.
Another secretary told me, Mr. Spinks, the champion of the world, is at the airport. He wants you to come and pick him up with his entourage. I said, you tell Leon Spinks and his entourage get a cab. That's just a hoax. Somebody playing with your head. There's nobody there. So then she buzzes me and says, Henry, Leon Spinks, the champion of the world, and his entourage is in the waiting room.
Kalamazoo by itself was getting a lot of notoriety, and which drew young people down to the gym.
There were a lot of kids here waiting to see Muhammad Ali.
In high school, I done a book report on a former 2-time world heavyweight boxing champion named Floyd Patterson. I had a chance to meet Floyd Patterson. I was honored. And it was just an honor to see so many celebrities come into the city of Kalamazoo.
At this point, I think Mr. Grooms had about 5 or 6 world champions in his stable at one time. Amazing that here in Kalamazoo, Michigan, when you realize that Kalamazoo is not a big place, but to have world champions in the midst, where little guys, young teenagers can idolize and make themselves into what they have become in a sport that is